Hello and welcome to AOTA's federal briefing on what you can expect when you come to Capitol Hill for AOTA's annual Capitol Hill Day on October 5th, 2009. My name is Tim Nanof, Federal Affairs Manager with AOTA, and I'm going to be giving you a quick briefing about what you can expect when you come to Capitol Hill. The agenda for the day is essentially that we're going to get in the room around 8 or 8:30, and we're going to have a legislative briefing from 9 until 10. Much of that briefing is what you can expect to see right here now. We want to provide that to you in advance so that you're going to be able to be more comfortable when you went to Capitol Hill. We're going to do greetings and introductions of AOTA staff, as well as any other guests and members that are going to be around, the AOT PAC chair, to various state presidents, as well as have a guest speaker of a member of Congress or their staff. One of the challenges we have on Capitol Hill Day and doing it on a Monday is that many members of Congress are back in their districts meeting with constituents that day. So it's more limited to people who are actually going to be on Capitol Hill, but we're definitely going to have a guest speaker for you. We're then going to do an Advocacy 101 briefing, which is much of what you're seeing now. A briefing on what to expect when you actually get to members' offices, as well as an issue update talking about the 3 or 4 really hot issues for occupational therapy on the Hill right now. There'll be plenty of time for questions and answers, and then you'll be off to individual visits. We suggest you start your visits around 10:30 at the absolute earliest, but 11 o'clock is preferred. Right now, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the importance of political advocacy and political activism. Policy at the federal level really affects all aspects of your life. It affects your education, your loans, how you pay for that education, what jobs you can do, what procedures you're allowed to do, your salary, what Medicare will reimburse you for and what they won't, and your working conditions, how many hours you work a week. All of these different things factor in to what contributes to your life, and federal policy has a lot to do with it. There are other aspects that deal with your lives as well, such as the quality of your drinking water, air quality, driving on the roads, what the speed limits are. All of these are federal and state policy decisions that really impact your choices. So when you get to Capitol Hill, is this what you're going to expect? If you saw the August town hall meetings all around the country about healthcare reform, this is often what you saw. But it's not likely what you're going to see on Capitol Hill. The next slide is going to show more like what you're going to see. 1 or 2 people, or perhaps groups of students or practitioners meeting with a member of Congress or their staff. Typically the staff are about mid-20-somethings to 30-somethings. They are policy experts. They work on the area of healthcare or education, are probably the people that you're going to be meeting with. But what's important to remember is that they're not healthcare experts, they're policy experts. So you are the expert on occupational therapy, rehabilitation, school-based services, whatever issues you're going to be talking about. I want to give you an idea of what to expect specifically when you get into those meetings. You should introduce everyone in the room. Have one person sort of be the leader for introducing and running the meeting, but everybody should certainly participate as much as they're comfortable. Do introductions. Give your name, where you're from, where you work. Try to connect something to the district. They may know the school you work in or the school you went to or the clinic or hospital that you work in. So it's very important for you to be able to connect yourself and your group back to the district or the state. Give them a statement of the issues that you're going to talk about. Much of what we're going to talk about is in the context of healthcare reform, because that's what's going on Capitol Hill right now. But we're going to be very specific to occupational therapy within that big general framework. It's important to then highlight your particular issues. You may be talking about home health, you may be talking about rehabilitation in general, there may be talking about aspects of healthcare reform and Medicare, but it's important to highlight those issues and keep it to 2 or 3. You're likely to be in the meeting for maybe 20 minutes roughly. It could be a little less than that, it could be a little bit longer, but you don't have a lot of time to get into many issues. So we ask that you focus on the 2 or 3 that we're going to share with you at the later part of this briefing. Ask the member for their position. You raise a few issues to them, but you want to see where they stand. They may be completely with you. They may need some more encouragement to change their position. So specifically ask if they can support your issue and ask where they stand. And then, of course, be sure to be cordial and thank them and leave behind the packet of information that we're going to give you. It gives them policy details that they're going to need to take action in the future. At this point, I want to basically go over some lobbying do's and don'ts. You see them on the screen behind me, so I'm not going to go into each one individually. But I want to let you know that there's some very important things. Do be personable and polite. Find out who they are, why they're in this job, how they ended up getting there. That'll help make you have a more conversational meeting rather than something that's more scripted. Be brief. be informative about the issues, but they have so many things going on, and they're taking their time out of their day to meet with you, which is their job. They work for you. But it's really important that you be brief and just provide them with the absolute necessary pieces of information without overburdening them. At this point, I want to talk about what not to do, and this is probably most critically important. Don't be narrowly ideological, particularly in the aspect of healthcare reform. I'm sure that in this room we probably have a pretty good split of people who are completely for and completely opposed to healthcare reform in the forms that it currently stands in now on Capitol Hill. This Hill Day and AOTA's work is not about this overall healthcare reform bill. It's about advocating for occupational therapy and advocating for provisions that can benefit the profession and the people we serve. So not being narrowly ideological is critical. Don't be arrogant or threatening. I don't think I have to worry about that with this, occupational therapy practitioners. Take the time, don't take a long time to make a simple point. As we said before, be brief. And don't be surprised if you meet with members of Congress, their staff, rather than the member themselves. As I said, most of them are out in the district on a Monday, and also they're very busy with healthcare reform. So meeting with the staff is critically important. They are the ones that make the decisions. So I'm going to quickly recap what we talked about with lobbying. Make your introductions, be personal, ask a little bit about the person as well as making your formal introductions. Talk about occupational therapy. The number one thing you can do is to express to them and get across to them what occupational therapy is, why it's important to their constituents, and give them examples in order to show that. I can get up there and talk about occupational therapy as a health, wellness, rehabilitation profession, reimbursed by Medicare and all of the federal insurance programs. But I'm not able to give them the practice details that you are. Raise your issues, keep them to 2 or 3, ask for feedback, and then very important, ask directly for their support. We're going to give you on each issue something specifically to ask for, and then you can do that. And that gives you the opportunity to thank them or to follow up with them if there's still some open-ended questions there. At this point, we're going to go to current issues and an update. Healthcare reform is the overall context. We're working on OT and home health. We're working on workforce issues to get more trained occupational therapists and occupational therapy assistants, and we're trying to continue to deal with the therapy cap problem. But again, the critical issue here is dealing with occupational therapy, teaching them what that is so that they can be supportive of AOTA and occupational therapy issues in the future. And we're going to follow up this briefing with more details about issues. Thank you.